Mind over matter, overcompensating, overstatements, crookedness relating, the soul's churn in return, mental overstimulation, one word, riveting, it terrors my pilot, streams that are promised to make seeking less, the perfect accomplish, to my regular bliss, my constant reminisce in betwixt, the times of solemn chimes, my convoluted rhymes, like pillows in the midst of a cascade, early page, like a script, as it tells the prince made. All the telltale signs smothered in DNA, undeniable, it was mine. Hello everyone, welcome back to Poetry Journal Podcast. I am your host, Alex Murder, and as we know, it's pretty much winter right now, so hey, everybody's pretty much icicle if you're outside, but carry on. Thankful, another episode, positive, feeling good, looking good, and I'm just gonna go through this quote one more time, and I'll give you my take, and I'll unwrap it for you, and hopefully provide some food for thought for the second time. Mind over matter, overcompensating, overstatements, crookedness relating, the soul's churn in return, mental overstimulation, one word, riveting, it tethers my pilot, streams that are promised to make seeking less, the perfect accomplish, to my regular bliss, my constant reminisce in betwixt, the times of solemn chimes, my convoluted rhymes, like pillows in the midst of a cascade, early page, like a script, as it tells the prince made, all the telltale signs smothered in DNA, undeniable, it was mine. And with this one, it's for me it's quite a profound piece, just in terms of like the whole ideologies. It kind of from where it came from, it's the inspiration, ideologies, and just reading it, and just like the sparks, the mental sparks, in a way that's us inspired by just thinking on certain words and just the way I try to convey them. For example, mind over matter. Let's get into it. So let's start with this. Mind over matter. And I would ask to begin with, like my questions. Do you mind if you don't matter? That's the first question, or food for thought. In other words, my spinal in the works, but do you mind if you don't matter? And peculiar question, I know. To to the body that may cause drawbacks. In some sense, I'm talking physical drawbacks in this situation. In the sense that it is in our nature to want certain things, even if we have learned to do without such things, in a sense. You're gonna have to follow me on this one, but we'll get there in the end. So yeah, even if we have learned to do without such things, in a sense. With this question, I think this is such a situation. Of course, there is a common answer. Then there is the other that goes against commonality, which would be my answer. No, I don't mind if I don't matter. That would be my answer to the question. Then that begs a bigger question, though, doesn't it? Are you the type to turn your back to the world and everything it has to give? So I guess this would be more viable if it was a situation where, like, I give an example, like, say, people say, integrity to certain people is everything. And so, what if one day your integrity is compromised, and the only solution to kind of keep that part of yourself is to actually turn your back on the world, in a sense. Are you the type to turn your back to the world and everything it has to give, meaning all the beautiful perks in terms of experiences that comes with life and all it entails? I mean, I'm just saying this because I find this to be an intriguing perspective. It's very different for one, and one that I believe deserves being unpacked. And so we're gonna keep treading this road. To begin with, I think this is a state of mind commonly found in extremists. And when I say extremist, I mean, strictly speaking, personality. So commonly found in extremists. However, the outlook of any person, even one of such to enhance their view of the world, to be seen in such a way, is one that is quite, in my opinion, profound, and it's one quite profound in itself, methinks, I think. And I just want to dig deeper, in a sense. I guess in theory, I'm thinking, I think it all develops from the viewpoint of the premise of subsistence. I guess this is where I would start. The premise of subsistence. You may ask, what is that? Well, let's start with, for example, let's start with subsistence. Let's just define it. Subsistence. And as they subsistence is the act or fact or of maintaining or supporting oneself, especially at a minimal level. For example, the minimum income needed for subsistence. And so I think that's where that's a place to start in this context I'm trying to create, in this situation I'm trying to create, to try and unpack this ideology we're talking about. And I just want to put this out there. Nobody by choice, I believe, or very few would prefer to live a life of doing without, and when I say without, I'm just meaning just doing without. Like, nobody would choose that by default if they do not have to. I think this ties in with, and this is a big point, I think this ties in with the idea of survival. And what I mean by survival, you know, there's just the whole idea of, like, if you're not living, you're surviving. I just want to make that clear. So I think this ties in with the idea of survival. What does that entail? Let's go into that. Well, these are the type of words that comes to mind, I would say, to begin with. Okay. First, meagerness, discipline, strict. The biggest factor, I would say, is doing without. I would say, yeah, doing without and discipline. When you have no choice, discipline is not an option. It is your way of life, isn't it? And when you do have a choice, it's almost like your state of mind will tell you that there isn't a choice. And even then, your state of mind will depict that there isn't a choice, because you're so regimented, you're so strict. Ergo discipline. That doing without is second nature. You know? And I would put all this in the context of, or just sum it up in a ball of, like, what we're talking about is kind of like a situational extremism. But at the same time, there is solace in the premise. If only you're able to keep an open mind. However, the biggest drawback of any situation is when the revelation of course is knowledge. Well, it's revelation to begin with, but revelation in the sense of knowledge and experience, in my opinion. Because in this situation, you understand that life as you know it, is because you have, well, what I'm saying is, life as you know it is because when you do have that revelation, you realize only then, and an experience of something better, you realize life that you knew it, I should say, is only that because you had no choice, and you knew little of the world, or better off the world, to seek it. When I was reading this quote, speaking of the poetry piece I read, when I was reading this quote, as a means of selecting something I wanted to share, this is something that came to mind. I hope it was worth me sharing. So I guess I've said all that has been, well, necessary to unpack really where I'm trying to take this. But I would add to that sometimes the mind don't know what it wants or know any better because it simply has not been exposed to enough, or simply lacks the information to generate an subjective outlook. And of course, there's objective. There's objective. I think they interplay with each other. I could say objective, but I say subjective because it's a personal situation. It's a personal thing to a person, knowing what you want and what works for you. And so, I thought subjective is apropos. However, to that, I would add that what I mentioned last episode, and this was a quote, what is life if not for our experiences? I believe those are the only things we can take with us. You know, they say they have this situation where, well, I wouldn't call it situation. It's basically reality. It's basically a fact where, you know, when you die, your riches, etc., you can't take it with you. You know, when you pass on, you can't take it with you. So, however, in theory, because you know we basically really don't know, but in theory we should be able to take our experiences. And so this has always been something that stuck with me. What is life if not for our experiences? And to that I would say, I believe those are the only things we can take with us. They make the skin glow, the soul clap, the soul cry, the mind sigh. But in the end, it comes down to one thing. I guess you could call it the caveat on the whole encapsulation of life as we know it. And I would say, I would finish with a question. Are you living or are you surviving? put another way, just to repeat it. I think it's something worth thinking about. Are you living or just surviving? And I think that quote, that question, encapsulates everything I'm really trying to express with the piece that we're speaking about that I read at the beginning. Yes, indeed. But of course, thanks everyone for tuning in and hearing what I have to say. Feeling positive, feeling good, looking good, and appreciate everyone supporting what I'm doing. Of course, you know my work is out on Amazon. Still a lot of things going on, but I'll keep you posted when they are confirmed to be in existence to the public. But for now, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, take care.